Welcome to the Stiffs podcast with me, Sam Aiston, and my ex-teammates Dave Edwards and Gav Cowan. Thank you to our sponsors, Acoustifoam, the #1 supplier of quality acoustic solutions. Enjoy.
If you haven't listened to them already, have a listen to Part 1, The Early Years, and Part 2, Titles and Tribulations, of the Joe Hart trilogy within the Stiffs. In this episode, we talk with Joe about becoming one of England's greatest ever goalkeepers, as well as an insight in what happens at a major tournament.
We got to the final of the under-21s Euros, which was awesome, which I was banned for. I managed to pick up a second yellow in the shootout, being a helmet. But he is God. And then Pirlo stepped up, who's ran the game, completely ran the game. He really made me feel like there was levels to football in terms of you couldn't play with Stevie if you weren't good at football. Do you need a keeper? Because I am down if you do. Because at that time, it just is what it is. They're the people that are looking after you. You know, armed people everywhere, and that was how it was. Brazil were protecting their tournament by just being on the front foot. But looking back, obviously, I went way too far. And luckily, that was before things went viral, but it somehow re-emerged. But
2016.
He's been on about this all the way up.
This was tough.
2016 was not my best year.
Dave calls it the Dave Edwards tournament.
We laugh and joke, but he has said that a couple of times.
It was nuts out there for us. We were playing Russia, and there was kind of organised violence going on behind my goal.
I remember it. Yeah, they all
Absolute job to be done. You know, I'd have done anything I needed to do to you, and vice versa for the result for our countries. We represent our countries, for God's sake. Done. England career, bosh. So I loved it, and I absolutely loved it. Continue to love it.
I'm better, but still not brilliant.
On to England, Joe.
Yeah.
You obviously doing well at Man City before you get the call up. 2010 South Africa, Fabio Capello, you're named in the squad. Must have been amazing.
Yeah, that was off the back of the Birmingham season. Actually, that one. I was kind of in and around it, and I'd been playing the under-21s. Played a lot in the under-21s. We got to the final of the under-21s Euros, which was awesome. Which I was banned for. I managed to pick up a second yellow in the shootout, being a helmet. But
that's not like you, is it? In a shootout,
not for the first time or the last time.
What is it you shouting in shootouts, Joe?
You live and you learn. I was quite vocal when I was younger. I don't know. I just felt like
taking out the expletives. What like are you going like? All the best. Like, wait, I know where you're going. I know where you're going. Same old things you did in training back in the day.
Just talking shite, mate, because it was fun, and I felt like it was a lesser player would maybe think that I did know what I was on about. I did.
Do you ever feel it worked?
It definitely worked. Lower. There's good examples of it working. There's great examples of someone. You know, I had Pirlo dink me in the.
We're going to come on to that, weren't we?
Yeah, mate, people think that's an awkward moment for me. Like, absolutely not. Not one. That was unbelievable to be able to do that. Like, that is just
the pressure.
That was a huge moment, and he felt that I was too charged not to dive. Like, who thinks like that? Who thinks like that? They were behind in the shootout. I'll tell you who thinks like that. Players like him, world-class players. So, am I going to take offence to that happening when everything's on the line? Absolutely not. I applauded it.
Yeah, but 2010, you're on the plane.
Off
the back of a good season. Did you ever think there was a chance of playing? Because there was no outright number one, was there?
There was no outright number one. I knew I wouldn't start. I was just starting to kind of make waves. I'd been in the squad probably a few times. I don't know. I'd been enough times to not be a complete stranger. But there was a goalkeeper pool. There was like, I think, Kirkland, Carson, Foster, who weren't involved. And it just kind of worked out that my rise in what I was doing at the time put me in that squad. But I'd only played one game.
And the other goalkeepers in that squad were?
David James and Robert Green. Greeny was doing well at West Ham. Jamo was absolutely on fire at Portsmouth. Like, both at the kind of mid to back end of their careers, but they were in good spots. They were in good spots. You know, they're not the kind of glamorized names of what people maybe would have wanted, but they fully deserved to be 1 and 2, however which way that was at the time, which no one knew. You know, Fabio Capello was the same as Roberto in terms of he was turning a team sheet over an hour and a half before the game.
For England, a major tournament.
And you would know it. That was when
that is outrageous.
That was when you knew who was playing.
Isn't it? That is outrageous.
I'm a bit speechless about that.
Adam, how did the lads find out, Joe?
Under Fabio?
Yeah.
he was an extreme that none of us had experienced before. He had people were petrified of him because this guy just charged around with no English, no interest really in learning English. At best, he called you by your surname. At worst, you could tell in his head he was thinking, "Fuck knows, don't know who you are." Anyway, you.
I think you told me one time about where he told Rooney to tie his shoelace or something.
Yeah, Rooney
laces.
Rooney laces, and he was like, no. In fact, I think Crouchy was the only one who he actually Crouchied off, who had any sort of other name other than a surname, and it was like Terry, Gerrard, Beckham. That was just how people were spoken to.
You can't do that to Beckham, can you?
Exactly.
That's mental to think about that. So just treating them
How
like...
the lads respond to that, Joe?
Just did as you were told. It was
question.
mad to see. It was because I only worked under Fabio I hadn't worked under McLaren or Sven before. But to be honest, from what I heard, that it was a lot more relaxed and it was a lot more, treating people as professionals and adults. And maybe it's what at the time the public who they really craved to see their England team like kind of slapped in line and not smiling. And Fabio was ideal for them in their opinion. He was he was a hardened winner. Whereas Sven was just a top guy. He had a great career, and then Steve McLaren struggled obviously because he didn't manage to take them to the Euros in 2008. So whatever he was as a coach, he was deemed as a failure, and that was the wrong way to do things. So Fabio's hard approach was bought in, and it was certainly no nonsense. It wasn't England trips were tough. They were very meeting based, very kind of hard Italian work on the training field where you're out there for long periods of time and without actually doing much. A lot of 11v11s, a lot of shadow play. It was just, but you're getting to play for England, so no, it was in a club environment. I think there would have been some pushback, but you don't care. You'll do anything. You'll train anyway. You'll be called whatever name someone wants to call you if you're involved with England. So that was very much how we worked. So everyone just tried their best to make it work.
But for 1 or 2 weeks in the qualifying campaign, you can get your head around that, right?
Yeah.
I'm going away for England. I've got one game or 2 games. We're going to be away for 10 days. You can get your head around that. But going to South Africa,
we went to
for 6 weeks.
We went to Rustenburg, mate, which I don't even know. I know that it's close to Cape Town, but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's one of these things when a World Cup springs up in a country and they just invent stadiums, they just invent training grounds that aren't necessarily like with football heritage or the areas rich on football. Like we were just plonked in the middle of nowhere in this kind of training facility. Pitches were walking distance. It was all based around being isolated and being able to work and focus on what we were doing.
But no way to get away from that at all.
But it made no difference to me. I didn't see it as being a big problem. We were there to do business, and that's how he wanted us to do business. So that's how we do business. I don't know. That's how I've always seen things. And if we were there if someone put us completely in the mixer and we were able to socialise, then that was what we were to do because that's what he wanted us to do.
So there's no wives, girlfriends, just the lads.
Just the lads.
Hotel, obviously.
Hotel staff.
Or?
Yeah, it was brand new. It was good. It was.
Who was your roommate?
There was no room.
Single rooms.
Single rooms.
Is that tough when you're a young lad, like, because you'd only been, what would you been, 20?
No, I was 23.
23, yeah.
No, not tough. I don't know. It was we had a darts school. It was amazing for me because I'd kind of had opportunities to be away with groups, superstars, like big names in my opinion. They were still just kind of Premier League players to me. So I got to really know people. You get to really know people as people in them kind of trips, don't you, Dave? Like,
were you ever sort of pinching yourself that
you're a family?
You're in this time here, and you've got the likes of Steven Gerrard and David Beckham and Wayne Rooney. Was that ever kind of like, wow? It was only 4 or 5 years ago I was playing for Shrewsbury.
Yeah, but Shrewsbury was, like I've always said, like Shrewsbury was my pinnacle at the time. So it was look, I loved it and it was amazing. But just the more and more time you spend with these names that are huge lads in the game, they're just good lads. The majority of them are good lads who see young players with the attitude that I had, and they were okay with it. They accepted it.
David Beckham, the best looking footballer you played with?
Second.
This is embarrassing.
I'd say he's fourth.
It's going to be awkward.
I'd say he's fourth, lads.
Who was the massive characters in that team then?
JMO. Oh, so getting back to JMO, just wanted to point that out. So obviously I then began working with him with England, and I'd actually played against him and always thought, here we go, like he's going to be muggy to me. And he was always really sound to me, like, and lots of stories of how JMO behaved and how he treated people was like, if you were on the wrong side of him, you were done in a room, because he was sharp, he was strong, he was dominant. And I wasn't sure how he was going to behave with me, and he was awesome with me. He was absolutely unreal with me. And in that dressing room, there was some Jamie Carragher was in that dressing room, and he was strong, as in, you know, if you felt like he wasn't backing you, you could have a problem. But David James was also hugely strong, influential in terms of like banter, and I don't know if his eye kind of turned on you, and he was gonna, you know, I'm the kind of guy who would go red if someone really put it on me for no reason. I didn't know what to do or say. But he liked me. I think working with him and becoming friends with him, he pointed out that he saw a lot in me, and he liked my mentor. He liked how I worked. He liked how I did things, and he respected what I did. So he kind of I had him in my corner, which helped in terms of like getting your position in a squad. Because I could have easily been an outsider. I was, you know, third choice. I'd played at Birmingham. No one at City that was in that squad. So Gaz Barry and Joel Escott had side for City when I wasn't there. So I didn't have any close relationships with anyone. But yeah, it was amazing. Like in a dart school with Crouchy, and
Who was the best at darts?
well, it was me.
Crouchy surely can reach the board.
Me, Millie, Crouchy. Who else was there? Gaz Barry, Glenn Johnson, and we all like you go a bit stir crazy at them sort of things. So we've all got our own names. We've got like kind of walk on music in our head, and we're playing like around the board. It was wicked.
It's a little bit like that in the Stiffs HQ, isn't it?
There we go.
I'm out in front at the moment.
It was just, but those are the kind of amazing things. And for some reason, however strict and however Fabio was with how he saw things, of like, you know, even to the extreme of no cordial, no ketchup, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. He actually liked golf,
Yeah.
and he liked playing it, so we could play it. So all the things we weren't allowed to do.
You can go play golf for 4 hours and walk
Can't
all
have
over
a
the place.
ketchup.
Can't have any ketchup, but you can go for 4 hours.
100% you can have a round of golf as long as it's over 40 hours before the game. So we were like getting the bus to Sun City near Cape Town. This kind of kind of Vegas, if you like. You walked in, it was like completely protected, surrounded, and there was a golf course, and just playing golf with all the lads. Par threes with alligator pits. Like South Africa's, what a country, what a place.
Yeah. Dave said you can't put.
No, I did that for my own mental health. I like playing golf. I didn't take it too seriously, and putting Happy Gilmore style. I reckon could kick in. So I didn't want any stress. We were just having a good time.
So the tournament starts though, and Robert Green's been given the shirt.
But by the way, representing England in a tournament, like, wow, what a feeling! What a feeling! Oh my God! Like being away with England, being away with a group of lads. Any tournament I've been away with England fans, like you're literally 10, 11 hours away, and that's when you were, you know, we were in Rustenburg, we were in Johannesburg, we were in some mad places. But an England tournament, an England World Cup is nuts. It's special.
Nervous before you go? Excited?
Buzzing, mate. Buzzing. The Beckham effect was still there. Getting PlayStation. It's not. I sound so old here, mate. What's the other one? What's not a PlayStation? Xbox. They're getting given to your TVs, getting given to your headphones. More. I didn't have enough ears for that amount of headphones that I was given. You know, your suits, getting suited up. Mad experience, mate. Mad. It's just a buzz. Just a buzz.
Yeah. Did you ever think at any point in that tournament that you actually might play? Because obviously Robert Green made a bit of an error in the first game against USA, didn't he?
He did.
And then as a change of goalkeeper, were you ever in that conversation?
Well, it's sod's law, isn't it? Like, so I remember that game, and I remember him having a poor moment, but he literally made one of the best saves I've ever seen to keep it at 1-1 and to cheers, Paul. 1-1 to keep it at 1-1 and to, you know, a draw was more important. It was very important in terms of not losing. But anyway, that's by the by. Outside pressure, Bosch. It was pretty obvious he was going to change his keeper after one game, which is tough.
Yeah.
Like, it was massively harsh. Greeny's, you know, it's one of those you mess up for England. His whole family are getting it. People are outside his mum and dad's house. I'm trying to play golf, like support as well as thinking, shit, I might be playing. Or so anyway, I I think he got the opinion of 3 of his senior players as of to what was next. Jamo played in World Cups, so he played in big tournaments, fully ready. But I was this kind of new kid who'd showed, a lot of. I definitely showed that I could handle it if that's what they decided to do.
Did you feel you were valued by the senior players?
I really did.
Gerrard, Beckham, and everybody.
More John Terry. He was the one.
John Terry was here.
Stevie's a great guy, but he's very himself to himself. Like Frank the same, who I got to know a lot more, obviously through my years. But and it was still that kind of the clicks that everyone kind of waffles on about was still kind of there. But JT was the biggest captain I'd say in terms of I always like to think that how you treat someone when you don't know them is more important than when you do. So some of the lads would treat you a little bit different. And I was obviously always aware of that when I was playing. Like, new people to the squad, make them feel welcome, make them feel respected. Even the smallest things of asking them how they want to be addressed, knowing their nicknames. Do you want to be called? Do you want to be called Davey? Do you want to be called Edo? Or is David? Is that how you want to roll? I know you are, but I want you to feel comfortable. All those sort of things.
So you did that when you were a senior player, but as a young lad coming in, John Terry did that.
Yeah, to the level it was then of just making you feel welcome, interested, positive about what you were doing. And he was the kind of link that he was like, just be on your toes. There's definitely a conversation being had. And I was like,
wow.
Oh,
so you knew JT was kind of possibly pushing you as well?
Yeah, he might have been pushing, but it just gave me the we didn't know if it was going to be a conversation or it was just nailed on that it was JMO, but the fact that it was a conversation, I was like, whoa, cool. All right, okay.
You've obviously impressed then.
Because I played 2 in the warm-up. They'd give me minutes, and I'd like to think I did well in the minutes. I hadn't conceded in however many games that I played. Anyway, the board got flipped, and JMO was playing. That was that. I was a little bit. It was the first time I was like, bit gutted, but then again, a little kind of check myself. Like, I'm at the World Cup of England. We are a group of 23 who genuinely believe that we are going to try and win the World Cup, and you can't win anything if you're individuals. And JMO fully deserved just as much as Greeny did, just as much as, maybe not. I didn't have the miles in the bank, but in terms of ability, I deserved to play. But JMO got the nod, and that was that. Let's get behind him and let's see where it takes us. And got through. I think we had a poor 0-0, and it was getting a bit toxic at home. We'd gone 1-1, 0-0. I think Wazza was on camera because the fans were booing.
Right, I remember that. Booed by your own fans.
Yeah, and it was all getting a bit intense, and Fabio was acting a bit differently to the point of it's football's like it's crisis meetings, and we needed to beat someone in the last. Anyway, we ended up winning 1-0 and qualifying, going through the last 16. Scraping through, and because of where we finished in the group, we were playing Germany where were we playing Germany? It was somewhere at ridiculous high altitude. Them Jubilani balls, oh my god, the vuvuzelas are going off.
Is that the 4-1?
It was
the Lampard, wasn't it?
It was 4-1, mate, but it was 2-0, and then we were like, we're getting schooled. They were good. And then Matty Upson scored. Honestly, there's no feeling like being in a tournament and being in a group of lads like nuts. The fans going mental. And then Lamp scored that goal, and we were on the pitch. It was so obvious it was a goal. It was so
even
obvious
from the sideline, you knew it was.
And
over.
It was changing, like it was gonna change. It was changing, and we were like, and it didn't get given, and everyone was really confused. And then before you could, the Germans are just how they do things. It wasn't a goal in there. It's not a goal. It's not a goal. We get on with it, and we go 3-1 up, and it was over. And we lived. It was some night. Yeah. Because everyone was just absolutely devastated. You're devastated. I don't care what anyone says. You don't have to say this to anyone. How much it means to play for your country. Like, you let your country down. None of the England players care. But I would never even bother getting in an argument with it. It's everything to you. It's everything. Like, you would do anything to be like. Who you represent. You represent your family, your town, your country, your people. That's who you represent when you represent England. And you want to win for those people, but we didn't, and it was gutting, absolutely gutting.
What was Capello like afterwards? Because that's his chance, isn't it, to show a bit of warmth and a little bit. Does he anything?
Nah, just very matter of fact. And then we went back.
It's over.
Yeah, and we were flying on the next day, and we got obliterated in the hotel. And it was
all the lads together.
Yeah, just because
sorrows.
You've just been literally drinking water and focusing on trying to do something, and then just living in a bubble. And then you go home, but then. That was the time when it kind of, the next camp was my opportunity to take the number 1 slot. I'd gone back to City, started there, and then Fabio gave me the 1 spot, and that was me for for the next couple
Did
of
Fabio
years.
have a conversation with you about you being the number one?
Flip chart.
Flip chart over. One Hart.
Off you go, pal. John Hart.
John Hart.
John Hart, number one.
John Hart.
Thanks, Gaffer.
Call me Terry if you want, pal, as long as I'm playing, not asked.
So is it then time to speak about the 2014 or?
No, we're too early.
12.
Stick to the script, Gav.
You said on 12?
I've done a script here, haven't I?
Where are you here?
It's preparation, mate.
All over the place.
So 2012, you're in the Euros, so you're the number one now.
Ah, right, got you. I'm with
Joe's
you now,
the number
lad, sorry.
one. Roy Hodgson's your manager.
No, not yet.
It wasn't 2012, wasn't it? In the
No,
Euros?
he came in. Fabio literally had a fallout over JT's captaincy.
Yeah.
And we'd qualified for the Euros. And I'm thinking about March. He just went, "Nah, that's me. See you, pals." He just said, "I can't deal with this anymore," and walked.
So then Hodgson.
So was
a few months
Hodgson
later
earlier?
had that.
Okay.
I've done my research, lad. Just trust me. Just stick.
About time,
trust
isn't
me.
it?
Roy got
Thomas Sorensen still fuming.
And then you lost them on penalties in the quarter-final. And I looked this up on Wikipedia. You had 85 touches in that game, more than any other England player.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, that tournament, it was off the back of winning the league.
Confidence is sky high.
Confidence is sky high. We're going there with a few young lads. You know, we've got nothing to lose. Kind of Roy's come in and basically said, "Look, lads, we're going to go out there and we're just going to go for it. There's nothing to lose. Football's at a bit of a low as a league, as a country. Let's go and have it." Went straight out. So it's my first tournament playing.
You had a really good tournament because, again, not to my research, 22 saves you made at Euros.
Yeah, we played France. You know, a good French team. Drew 1-1 with them. But I think Joel scored. Then we went and played Sweden 1-3-2. Then we went and we had to get a result against Ukraine, the hosts. We beat them 1-0. Had a good game, big moments, and then went into the last 16 with Italy, which was special. Like, it was special. It was my first tournament. It was awesome. Like,
Possession-wise, you got battered.
absolutely battered.
But you played really well.
I was making saves. The boys in front of me were strong. You know, bodies on the line. You know, like blood being shed. We just had to do our best to get through at penalties. Like, Italy were good. They were far superior to us. I was playing against Gianluigi Buffon down the other end. Like, come on.
What was that like, standing in the tunnel with him? Chatting?
He is God. Not because of his footballing ability, but that guy is just class personified. He's unreal. He makes you stand next to him, and he knows how you're looking at him. He knows you know who he is. He knows you probably more than likely to think the world of him, and he just made you just feel. He made me feel. I don't even know what I felt. I just felt amazing. The fact that I was stood with him. He called me Joe. He put his arm around me. He laughed and joked. He wished me luck. And you know, I managed to play him a few times, and I had to tell him what I thought of him. And he was just an exceptional man. And
He actually did an interview, didn't he? And he was talking about best goalkeepers in the world.
Yeah.
He put you in that conversation,
in the
didn't
top
he?
five,
He
didn't
said
he?
the
That's
best
right,
goalkeepers in the world, and you was in that conversation. That must have been just...
It was, Dave, but I know how that conversation would have gone, and I know that they hadn't gone. Gigi, give us your top five. The conversation would have been in line with us playing against them. It would have been. Okay. I don't know this for a fact, but I know, and I've answered questions. So I'm not, I wasn't naive enough to think that he genuinely. He rated me as a goalkeeper, but they would have gone. You playing against Joe Hart? He's doing well. Where do you put him? And because of what I've just said about him, how positive he was, and how he behaved, and his class and his aura, he would have had no second thoughts about going. Yeah, I he would have meant it. I love how Joe plays. In my opinion, I think the wording was myself and Ika are eventually going to end up not playing. And I see him as someone who's going to potentially be in those sorts. In that sort of role, but that was just him. Like, that was just, I knew that would be how he would behave. So I didn't read it as he thought I was anything outrageous. But I just when it gets to moments when you can't believe people even know your name, let alone talk to you, let alone and him, that game was just ticking stuff off, mate. Like asking for getting his shirt, and we shared the same city a few years later, ironically, in Torino. And
did you ever meet up with him when you were in Torino?
No, I knew lots of people that knew him, and I was stuff was set up, and I'll be honest, I shit myself. I pulled out. I bailed, and then I left. I've got a picture from a wife. I was stood in the kitchen. I looked at my phone, and she was like, "What is wrong? What's happened? I've never seen you look like that before." And I've just gone. January's brief ones just to text me.
Starstruck.
Yeah. But then it's just said good luck at West Ham. He likes West Ham. I was like,
what's that put? What's that send back?
Yeah.
I can't send back. Thanks. What's that put?
I was gone. I was gone. I was like, but anyway, that's me just veering off on him. What I think of him. That game was
Class.
Yeah, that game was a special game. We backed to the walls, and it was like all at that moment in time. I'm still like it now. Get to penalties. I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
Get us to penalties.
You fancy yourself.
Yeah. Always. I always think I'm going the right way. I always think I'm going to save it. It's just how I work and how I think. I know that 4/5 of the time I'm wrong. Wrong. I'm going the wrong way. I'm not saving it. But that was how I liked it.
Was that the Pirlo dink, that one?
Yeah. So Mario's taken their first penalty.
Yeah.
Mario, who's someone I've worked with at City, was unbelievable at penalties, and we duelled like.
What's he
So
like?
he's a
Just quick one. What's
Another podcast.
okay,
that one.
another podcast. Oh,
Yeah, he's just. But we apart from him as a player, like what you talked about, me staying behind training, that's kind of a theme throughout my career, and I've always done it, whether I'm number one or whatever. And he used to love. He was a big kid. He loved taking penalties and smashing shots, and I loved going in goal. So we'd spend hours taking and he was brilliant at them, amazing. And we worked that hard on them that eventually I kind of could get close to saving one. And he'd never sell it, and he stepped up, and we had like a kind of a jokey relationship. I was like, and I was just trying to intimidate, and he's a nice, focused kind of guy when it comes to stuff like that. And
You must have fancied your chances.
massively. I honestly, Dave, I convinced myself that I'm saving it. Yeah. I'm convinced.
And what was your strategy for him? Wait as long as you can, because he has that slow run up, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Kind of looks at you, ready for you to
A
go.
lethargic approach, isn't it?
Yeah, and then, but he always waits to sit. But I knew he hit it hard. He never hits it hard.
So he knew you were going to wait.
Yeah, and he celebrated, and he said that he never celebrated, but he knew that because of what we'd been through together.
He was feeling it.
It was big. Yeah. And then we scored, and then next one I went the right way, and he put it wide. And then Wazza stepped up, whipped it. So we're winning 2-1 after 2. Wow. So I'm like, it's fucking on. This is on. And then Pirlo stepped up, who's completely ran the game. He's sensational.
In his
I'll
slippers.
take him out. I'll take him in his slippers.
So I'm thought like this is not the time for you treat everyone the same. Like I want him. Yeah. I want him to know. I want him to know how I'm feeling. I want him to know, and like. Then this guy stepped up and just cool as you like in a moment where he could not afford to miss, because if he misses, we're one penalty away from going through. Yeah. Dived to my right and literally just watched it.
Dinked it down the middle.
Just watched it. Because in your head,
and I smiled. I smiled. It was brilliant.
In your head, Joe, like you can't be thinking, like you say, the pressure's on him there. You can't be thinking he's going to dink you there.
Never
surely.
even crossed my mind.
Yeah. However good even though it's Pirlo, you're looking at me going, even though you are unbelievable, even you, he's not dinking.
You haven't got the balls to dink.
You just see Balotelli have to adjust his penalty and smash it.
But it was that good. Even in that moment against you, you would just like smile to go, like, wow. You had the appreciation.
It completely swung the whole mood because. But the reason that I didn't think he'd not dink it. I just thought that this guy can just put it anywhere he wants. So. He can whip it in the top corner if he wants. So surely that's what he's going to do. Yeah, absolutely. Dealt with me, lay on the floor. Picked the ball up, rolled it back out. Shared a little one of them with Buffon, who kind of went through it.
It's what he does, Joe.
He's pretty good.
He's good at football, isn't he?
Don't take that to heart. Yeah. And then Youngie's smashed one against the bar. Oh dear. Then I've gone the right way, but it was too good a penalty. Don't know who it was. It was someone. And then Ash Cole, who just won the Champions League with Chelsea, who was notoriously good in shootouts.
Yeah, good penalty taker.
Just got it wrong. Like, Gigi just lay on it. And then it was a Diamanti from who was at West Ham, who I talked to Rob Green about. Because Greeny was was at the tournament with me, and he was like, he's left-footed. All he does is whip it. So I have got you.
Yeah.
Got you on toast. So he's left-footed. So I've gone big to my left, and he's just rolled it to my right, and they've won. That's it, over. Spoke to him after. I was like, you fucker, like, why didn't you whip it? And he was like, I knew Rob would tell you that, so I was so confident that, because he saw me lock eyes with Rob when he walked up.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow.
Rob Green's fault then.
Massive mind game that though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great insight.
Yeah.
Great insight.
But
It's a massive
what
mind game.
can you do? And there was no real kind of backlash to that. We went out to a better
personally,
team.
you had a good tournament.
We
there.
went
There
out
was
to
no
a-
expectation.
We went out to a better team. We tried. We took it deep. We lost on pens.
The mind games of a penalty shootout. Incredible, aren't they? And you go into it for a school game, whatever. You were going to be nervous, but in that scenario on the penalty
Unthinkable.
takers, it's just outrageous.
Do you feel in that situation, Joe? Do you feel like a little bit of like the pressure's on them?
Yeah,
Because as a goalkeeper, there's no expectation.
a million% the pressure, and I want to hype that up and make that feeling felt.
You'd look forward to the penalty shoot.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
And you'd back yourself to score on us, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I always put myself forward,
Yeah.
always. But
It's difficult when you've got Beckham and Rooney.
Step aside,
All right,
Bex.
Joe, just
Step
give it.
aside.
but we all know that in that moment you need people that are genuinely in when they say, because it's not for everyone. That moment's not, no matter how good you are. Some people it's just not for them.
Have you seen top players crumble or struggle?
No, because I've not been in enough high-end penalty shootouts, so I've only really been involved in probably maybe only that one. If I really think about it, high-end penalty shootouts that I've been a part of.
Right.
And everyone was
Sheffield United League Cup.
that was high-end, Davey. I took the fifth.
You had a deadline to get
I had a deadline.
to liquid, didn't you?
No, Diva
on a
Tuesday night. So just hit the angle.
As long as it,
Gary, I'm wrapping this up. I need to get out.
hit the angle,
as long as
shrugged
it
it
doesn't go
off.
to sudden death, I don't really mind which way this
A few
goes.
bicep curls, and there we were.
So then after that, obviously, there's a lot between that we've spoken about, but it was on to the 2014 World Cup. Obviously, disappointment out in the groups.
Oh, mate.
That was Suarez, wasn't it?
That.
Uruguay.
Where was that one held?
Brazil.
14. Oh, wow.
Who was the manager there?
Roy was the
Roy
manager.
again.
Roy was the manager.
Boy.
Roy the boy. Good man. Very good man. Like Roy a lot.
Oh, it's
You
class,
still had
isn't
all the stars, so Gerrard and all them.
Steve-
Were they getting a bit older then?
Stevie was captain. No.
2014, no. They wouldn't
So
be
we
there.
just won the league. We just won the league again. Just took it off Liverpool on the last day when Stevie slipped, and
Yeah.
there was that kind of build up.
Do you have any banter about that, like when you're in England?
Not
Is it a bit too close
no.
to the bone?
Yeah. Look.
Imagine Stevie not taking that well.
Read the room. Stevie.
But what a top guy! What, like someone who the relationship grew, and you've heard people talk about him and stuff like that. But he was very, very guarded in giving his personality away, because he had to be. He was Liverpool. He was everything about him was just stardom. He was just a star. But he was actually a lovely guy, top captain as well.
And as a player on the training pitch.
Oh, mate, unbelievable!
Everybody,
Yeah.
Connor Cody said that last week. He just went.
He really
level.
made me feel like there was levels to football, in terms of you couldn't play with Stevie if you weren't good at football, because of the way he hit the ball at you, because of the way he behaved, and the way he expected foot to be. If you couldn't control a ball under high pressure at high speed, you couldn't play with him. It'd be horrendous.
He'd wrap it in.
Yeah, he'd wrap it in, not through any other reason other than that was what he could do and what he felt you needed to do to penetrate.
You're going to play with me.
They were the
Control
levels.
this and
They were the levels.
Oh, fuck me. Some of the trainings with England, I remember early doors thinking, I was at Man City when I first went there, and we were mid to low end Premiership team, and it was my first experience of real world class stars, and I was like, this is absolutely balmy. This is balmy how good these guys are and how consistent they are.
standouts, Joe? Obviously, Gerrard always gets a mention.
Rooney, Gerrard, Lampard, Terry, Ferdinand, Joe Cole, genius. Even my early squads, Beckham whipping free kicks in, whipping everything.
Did you used to have to go and goal for him when he's practicing?
Did I have to, Dave? Did I have to?
Thanks.
Are you kidding me? Do you need a keeper? Because I am down if you do.
Yeah.
Unbelievable technique, and it was just the intensity of everything. Everything was just done at a high octane level. It was sharp, mate.
So we spoke to Connor Cody about this, and we spoke like that. He was saying when he was at Liverpool as a young lad, he's like Steven Gerrard would be like, whether you were experienced, whether you were a young lad, he would fire into you in terms of tackles, like you say, wrap them passes in. He would have that expectation of you. And Connor was saying it was a little bit. It's quite daunting, isn't it, in them moments. And again, when he went with England, his reaction, and I'm just trying to get a bit of a pattern here, his reaction was to be like, because it's a crossroad, isn't it? You either go, I'm a bit out of my depth here, or you're like, right, I need to step up.
Yeah.
And it's different. And he says different to club level as well, doesn't he?
People like Joe, the other one, you step up, don't you? Other people who we don't know about, who haven't got 75 caps.
So we're just trying to get that theme.
Oh, 5 guys arrived,
here we go.
Everyone.
Food's here.
We'll have to pause it. Wait, 5 guys here.
Brilliant, lads. Enjoy your 5 guys.
Nice that was.
All good.
Who paid for that? Was that you, Gav, on there?
No, we tried, but Joe wouldn't have it. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Too good to us,
that
mate.
That makes up for when you broke me gate. I think you sold me 50 quid for that.
And my CDs.
At my wall.
That's the only reason we come here today.
That's covered it, lads. We're all square.
Happy day, we can go now. So just continuing on then, Joe, obviously 2014, you were just touching there on what an amazing experience it was in Brazil.
No, we were going there like every tournament. We fully convinced that we were going to do something. We were going to do something special for the country. We believed in our squad, believed in what we were doing, believed in our ability. And it was Brazil. Like, Jesus, what an amazing opportunity to go to Brazil. Just nuts. Football's nuts. I found it crazy at some of the places that I've been playing football in, kind of China and Australia and all these mad, countries that I probably wouldn't have visited if I didn't have that opportunity.
You've gone to Brazil as the undisputed number 1.
Yeah, number 1.
Good, strong squad there. She's still got lads at a good age.
Yeah, and new ones coming through, like young talent.
Do you remember who your backup goalies were then?
Ben Foster, and who came with me? Was it Heat? No, it wasn't Heats. It was... awful.
Obviously made a big impression.
No, because there was, so at that time I worked a lot. I always worked with Ben Foster, Jack Butland. There was Tom Heaton
and another.
And then loads of other lads would pop in and out through injuries and stuff like that.
But you knew you were going in as number 1.
I'd played every qualifier, played every game, played everything, and we just won the league. So I'd come off the back of a decent season.
And you felt good going to that tournament.
Felt good.
Got a great
felt
chance.
Felt great. Felt ready. Felt really ready. What did we do before it? Did we play a couple of games before it? Can't remember. Jeez, Fozzie would tell me.
First game, did you lose to France?
No, we played Italy. So
Italy,
we're playing Italy in the first game. We are playing in the jungle. We were literally playing in Manaus. We were in Manaus. Humidity, next level of humidity.
Altitude.
Literally in the Amazon. It was just crazy.
Did your preparation reflect that then, or?
Yeah, as much as we could. But what can you do? We were in Rio. We stayed in Rio. We were based in Rio. It was nuts. Like huge armed convoys taking us to and from training. Almost a warship protecting us because we trained next to the sea. It's mad because at that time it just is what it is. They're the people that are looking after you. Armed people everywhere and. That was how it was. Brazil were protecting their tournament by just being on the front foot. They didn't want anything to go wrong. And then we went into the Amazon rainforest to play Italy, who were brilliant, who were a hardened team, a very successful tournament team. A little bit of age in their team. Obviously, Pirlo was playing again, top player, and we were adamant that he wasn't going to dictate the game. We were adamant, that if we could get a hold of him, we had a chance of really doing something. And I think they went 1-0 up, shot us a corner routine. Someone smashed one in the bottom corner, and then Studge scored for us. Daniel Sturridge, who was on fire, had an unbelievable tournament with Liverpool. Season with Liverpool that year. Him and Suarez were tearing to shreds. Studge was a top player. I was with him at City when I was young. And then it was just on a knife edge. It was two good teams cracking it out, and then there was a little bit of a slip, and then the ball got crossed in. Mario scored a good goal at the back post, and then we kept pushing. Buffon was injured. Sirigu played. He had a good game. I'd say on stats and stuff like that, we were strong. But Italy were just once you were 2-1 down to Italy, or once they had a lead, they were hard to break down. Very, very hard. Very clever in tournaments. Don't know if you've seen. There's a moment at the end of the game where a free kick gets hit, and I'd had enough of the ball boy being away with the fairies, so I demanded the ball boy quite ferociously towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
Smashed down the barrier.
Your fault.
A little Brazilian lad.
Yeah, but it's everything. Everything's on the line. That was a 92nd minute, and the seats were miles away from the pitch. It was like kind of it wasn't a close, intimate ground. So once the ball was gone, it was gone. You needed the ball boy to be feeding, and he was kind of watching the ball, and I just had enough of it. And looking back, obviously, I went way too far. And luckily, that was before things went viral, but it somehow re-emerged. Yeah. But that was just after Pirlo had hit a free kick against me, aimed in one corner, and I'd never seen a technique like it. I had to congratulate him after. It was ridiculous what had happened. He hit it with his inside of his foot, which would now be probably called the knuckleball, but it was beyond that. So I immediately started moving to my right, and the ball just absolutely went off, hit the stanchion and went out. And I was just like, what am I playing against here? But and then we went. So that was tough. But then we had Uruguay in our group as well, and Costa Rica. Yeah. And there was a whole thing about Suarez had been injured towards the end of the season, and was he going to play? Wasn't he going to play? I think we played in Sao Paulo, like class. Just playing footy in Sao Paulo for England. And Suarez somehow managed to get himself fit. Him and Cavani up front. Edison Cavani was, I think he was at Napoli or PSG at the time. Top player. They were a good team. They were a good team. Goad in the back.
He got two, did he?
Yeah, he did.
South American as well, so they're used to, obviously.
Yeah, but they were tough.
We 1-0 up, weren't we?
Yeah, 1-0 up. We had him. Suarez was miles off it fitness wise. And then a little bit of intricate play between him and Cavani. He managed to score a good goal. And from then on it was a close game. It was just like the Italy game. That is the top. That is the top ends of it. It was a close game. And then I think Stevie misjudged a long kick from the goalkeeper. Not excuses, facts. The balls that you use in these tournaments are nuts. They were like Adidas. We were playing at altitude, so to judge a headers to come and attack, he got it just slightly wrong and ended up. He flicked it on. He didn't mean inadvertently flicked it on. Suarez peeled. He was miles offside, but because it was us and it was from a goal kick. So
he's an opportunist, isn't he?
Yeah, he just spun out, and I just asked him to beat me, and he just walloped it in past my left ear. I think it went in. Sharp finish, big celebration. Then they, again, very, very close to getting back in. Few things happened. Didn't out. Disgrace. We were then an absolute disgrace to the nation.
Because you're out in the groups.
Because we hadn't got out of the group stage.
And you've got a game left to play.
And we had a game left to play.
But you know that the fine line is that very much that it was so close.
It was
both
close
games.
But there was facts that we didn't. But you can't do that for England. You just can't and expect to walk out with any sort of understanding. I didn't want understanding. We lost. It was no one done anything wrong. No one had a bad tournament. And it was over before it even started. And then the last game, Roy played Ben.
Costa Rica.
Yeah, they'd completely upset the apple cart because they'd done really well in the first two games, and I think they went through as group winners in a potential group of death between the three of us, and no one even really
tough group isn't it?
Really tough group. And I'll be interested to get your perspective on this, Joe, because I often think you're absolutely right there. And it's definitely the humble thing to do, to go, do you know what, we've been beaten, no excuses, all of the cliche stuff. And I suppose when you talk about facts, been beaten, 2 games, 2 losses, and you're out of the tournament, understand that. But obviously if you're to critique that and analyse that, I think it's deeper than that. So I think, where does it stop? Because obviously as a team, if you're trounced 5-0 and then trounced 5-0 again, you expect to get a bit of stick, don't you? But when the games are so close, like what you've just said there, it's hard, isn't it? Because but you can't go around and speak to every supporter and analyse a game, can you? So it's almost that balance of going, right, well, do we get that stick? Which is obviously the reality.
That's for England, though, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Look, it comes
win or bust, isn't it?
I'd much prefer be on that fine line and be involved than not be. But what do you want from it? I suppose because there was no actual villain from the whole thing. There was no one to really kind of bang it on. There wasn't, Bex kicking someone or Wazza getting sent off. All those kind of things didn't happen. So it was just disappointment, mate.
Collectively,
we all know there's nothing worse than someone. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed, and that's how it was. It was like as a nation, and you thought you were better than that. You thought we've got a good. I knew we were. I knew that we bled for the cause. We, like I say, you can't help but get a little bit defensive about how kind of flippant people are with, you see them playing for England. They don't care. They care about their clubs, and just like, oh God, man.
It's nonsense, isn't it?
But I think that's the point I was just trying to make there. It's deeper than that, isn't it? It's deeper than just getting beat. It's a fine line, and it's not for the want of. But like Sam says there a little bit, it's like when you play for England, that's what you expect. My question is, should we expect that? Should there be a deeper analysis?
I look, there should be, and there probably is, but there's also the kind of the feel when everyone's up for it, which is kind of as well. If I'm going to ask someone to be as technical and analyse that, it was close and maybe it shouldn't be as difficult, technically people should not be that excited at the start, because if they had that mindset, then there wouldn't be the hype, there wouldn't be the feeling, there wouldn't be the fans, there wouldn't be the tops off, there wouldn't be people spending their money, their hard-earned money that they haven't got to go on holiday, having arguments with their partners, taking their children for one-off experiences. None of that would happen. So if that's what you have to bear for people to have that experience and the country to get in the position that it gets in, for it to potentially happen, then you take the shit all day long.
You can't expect to have the hype if you're not expecting
absolutely
to have
not.
that.
No way. You couldn't expect someone to rationally go, you know what, boys, you did your best out there, unlucky.
If they've travelled to Brazil.
Yeah, because technically they'd go, it's a lot of money to go to Brazil, and the boys might, they'll try, but they might not do it. They wouldn't come, and then you're just that country that, if you do well, you do well, and if you don't, you don't. We go with the expectation because of that, and what a feeling it's going to be when someone does do it, because someone will do it. Someone will do it, and that is just going to be unbelievable. That's going to be unbelievable for those people. It's not going to be me. I had my chance. I didn't take it. There's thousands of others. There's going to be a group of people that eventually will do it. It's going to be special.
Are you guys exposed to that hype inside the bubble? I know you're going to hear about it from friends, family, phones, TV, so that. But are you able to keep that out and say, we're here for an 11v11 game of football?
I think so. I think all the people that are involved in it are pretty much, that's their life, their lives. That most of us were at the time at top clubs fighting. A loss was unacceptable. A win was well done, on to the next. A trophy was exceptional feeling. What else can we win? Do you know what I mean? That was kind of, so yes, you were well aware that people were getting excited, but your job was to play football and your job was to be involved in that football. And if you could get over the 95th minute and something good had happened, then you could smile, then you could enjoy it, but then you had to go again and again and again and again.
What are the lows of being knocked out of a tournament like that? That initial 24 hours, 40 hours travelling back to England.
That's an emptiness. That's just an emptiness. But
can you rationalise it and say, as in life's all right, No,
I think you rationalise that, I've given my all, I put myself on the line in a big position that I wanted to go better and it didn't, but you can't afford to be a baby about it. Or
life goes on.
Yeah, life goes on.
How do you get over stuff like that? Is it cut off from the outside world, get with your family, go on holiday, just kind of try and regenerate yourself for next season?
Yeah, I think you've just got. I see the break in between seasons as, you're not getting away from anything. It's an opportunity to enjoy yourself. You don't get much opportunity to be away, to go on holiday, to not think about, to not have something looming in the next 2 or 3 days. So I think you have to enjoy that. How can you not enjoy that if you've got great friends and a great family? How can you not enjoy that? You'd be selfish. You don't want to, and you'd be kind of living the lie, really. Because how can you claim to have something that you love being in away from football if you can't put the ball away in terms of your feelings and your emotion? So I don't know. I've always been quite good with that.
Oh,
great for you, mate. Fucking rubbish for me.
2016.
He's been on about this all the way up.
This was tough.
2016 was not
Crazy.
my best year.
Dave calls it the Dave Edwards tournament.
We laugh and joke, but he has said that a couple of times.
Go on to the first
Well, it
game.
certainly wasn't the Joe Hart tournament, let me tell you that.
First game. Obviously, you've gone into that again massively confident.
Now, Sam, we're going into this confident.
We're winning
It's
this.
on, like Donkey Kong, it's on. It's on. We've got a new wave of fresh talent. We've got us boys who've been there, done it.
Great mix.
Want it more than ever, and want to guide and want to help. We're out in Chantilly, beautiful setting. I don't know if it was just northwest south or an hour away from Paris. And the international teams aren't that good. It's not like you can go into a Champions League or a Premier League where you're they're miles ahead. I don't think the difference is that big on an international scale, unless teams just click and it happens. I mean, in terms of people aren't in them tournaments, you're not past the first round. No one's getting beat 3-4, 5-0. No one. There's games and it's on. So we're in it. Who do we play first?
Russia. You're number
Russia.
one, nailed on, absolute.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think Butland had a surgence that year, and obviously people were starting to circle, knowing full well that Pep was coming in, and Like I personally felt like I was playing well, but it didn't quite matter in terms of the noise.
But Roy had you in 2012, 2014,
Yeah.
and 2016 stuck by you.
Yeah, and you know, I'd qualified the
rightly
team.
so.
I think I've close to 40 clean sheets in the amount of time that I played for England. Like, it was good numbers behind me, and I never missed anything. Never, and never would. Never missed nothing. So I always put myself as strongly as I could in the best possible position. But Jack got injured, and it was me, Fraser, and Tom that one. And the feeling was right. It was really good. You know, we obviously had the blockbuster against Wales, genuinely like exciting.
Russia game, you won the first game, did you? It was draw.
Mate, we were 1-0 up with
That's right, you drew
a couple of
1.
minutes to go, and they scored a crap goal. But you know, it happens. We dominated, and we played some lovely football. We played good football. It was nuts out there for us. We were playing Russia, and there was kind of organised violence going on behind my goal.
I remember it. Yeah, they all rushed into the crowd, didn't they?
In the stadium, they were behind my goal, mate. I remember them just looking. I thought, poof, these are some units, and they were just not emotionless the whole game. Completely emotionless. When we scored, they scored a late goal. They didn't even budge. And then about the 91st minute, someone set off a firework, and all of a sudden they stood up, and the final whistle went, and they ran. They just ran as a group. They were unstoppable. And they just took over the whole entire stadium, and I stayed on the pitch because, you know, friends and family were there, and I was literally going to take them in the dressing room. I felt like that was the only safe place because it was just everyone was just getting battered. It was awful. People were getting battered before and after the game. Like the Russians, I don't know, English people are always up for a scrap at them kind of tournaments, and it was just getting really messy. It was getting really out of control. But luckily they got out and got safe and got away. And then we built into the Wales game. You boys won the first game, right?
So that set up nicely, didn't it?
Yeah.
We'd won the first. We beat Slovakia 2-1. So obviously, and we knew all the pressure was on England after not winning your first game.
It is huge pressure on England. England's
it doesn't. Regardless of that, but that's just like intensified the rivalry.
And it was, from our point of view, it wasn't at the best. It was a crap stadium, wasn't it?
Where was it?
Lons, was it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Pitch was crap. Pitch wasn't great at all. It was red hot as well.
Yeah, it was
dead
roasting.
It's like an early kickoff as well, wasn't it? It must have been like a 1-2 o'clock kickoff in the afternoon.
Yeah, all the lads, all my pals had come over. Everyone was over. It was just a great day, wasn't it? England, Wales. What a great day. Myself, knowing you like I knew you, it was pretty special. I think we both appreciated that. It was special. But there was a job to be done. Absolute job to be done. You know, I'd have done anything I needed to do to you, and vice versa for the result for our countries. We were representing our countries, for God's sake.
Did you speak before the game?
Yeah,
the day before.
Yeah, checked in. Wished luck, but it goes without saying what's happening the next day. You know, afterwards, couldn't wait to sit down with him. Win, lose or draw, I think we both felt the same. But did we score?
Bill scored
we went 1-0 just before half time.
Oh,
didn't we?
Gaz has scored this fucking 40 ridiculously long free kick, and how I've let it up, absolute disgraceful from me personally. You know, it's just a goal I should never let in. So I'm just thinking, fucking hell, of all the times, like, I'm not that guy, and of all the times I've got to save that. How
do you feel when you made that mistake? Are you thinking no matter what I do from the rest of this game, I've made a mistake there? I think that's the difficulty with a goalkeeper.
Nothing. I'm thinking I back my team. That
get your head back in the game.
Yeah, as long as everything else is done properly, I still back us to win. And
no alternative. You've just got to be banging.
And I still back me to do my job properly. And then
it went 1-1, didn't it?
Yeah, was it Vardy scored the equaliser?
Yeah, so Vards has come on, and that just
changed the game, didn't it? It wasn't a good game. It was a scrappy game. We didn't play well. You didn't play well for that first hour.
It sent the fans mental when Vards come on. It was like they were screaming for him to come on. He was that cult kind of, and
they just won the Premier League.
He's an electric player as it is. So he came on. We weren't particularly functioning well, but it was a hard, honest game, wasn't it, Dave? It was an honest game of two teams, just like with a lot on the line. And then
Dave let Sturridge run off him.
Well, you scored. Obviously, Vardy scored, and then it was all England. Though.
Yeah, it was all
England.
And then Studge scored. What was it? 92nd? Was it in the 90s?
Late, yeah, it was late.
And honestly, like I'm not that guy to be emotional at having let a goal in that I shouldn't. It's just those tournaments, they do different things to you. Like I would, if we, anywhere else we'd have scored that late, it would have been, I'd have just been very happy, like good. I'd ran the length. I never run the length for you. Ran the length for the field, I think Gaz Neville blew a flipping hamstring.
I know, yeah.
And my pals and that were in the corner, and my family were in the corner of where everyone was celebrating, obviously contrasting emotions. But it was just unbelievable feeling. But then Gaz had a shot straight after, and I was blowing out my arse. And I vowed never to go up again.
You're an athlete, but you're not a great runner.
I vowed never to do it again because I was physically weak. So if it was on target,
like an ant.
Yeah.
And Gaz in that tournament, if he was shooting, you thought he could go in. He could win a game by himself that tournament. He was just
on fire.
Peak of his powers there, though.
Ridiculous.
He was hitting wobblers, mate. They were just unacceptable.
But you're saying there, Joe, obviously it's the tournament feel. You've sort of not done as great for the goal as what you have expected, and then you've managed to get that 2-1. You know what's going to happen at home. You know all of the
place has gone mental. Yeah. Like as Wales does, England stops for the tournament, and it just felt pivot again. That just made us feel like it's on. This tournament's on for us. God, who did we play? Play Slovakia after that. It was just.
What was nice from my memory though. So after the game, we talk about me and Joe sharing special moments on the pitch. I remember we kind of shook hands at the end and whatever. We've gone in and sort of Chris Cowan was debriefing. And in Lons, you come out of the dressing rooms and there's steps down, isn't there, onto the pitch? Like, must be a flight of about 15 steps. And I'm just sat on I've got my phone on me. I'm just sat on the steps. Just you want to kind of get out of the moments. You come and sat down with me, didn't you? And we kind of chatted for about 5-10 minutes and went through everything. I was obviously distraught. You're elated, but you're kind of consoling me a little bit. I remember you saying, mate, Russia, they're like, we should have battered them. They're crap. Don't worry, mate. You'll batter Russia. You'll definitely get through. And that was another nice moment we probably shared from obviously
amazing moment again, isn't it? Like
playing on pitches in Shrewsbury to then a major tournament like that.
Yeah, with both countries like right behind it. Like Wales obviously right behind you, England right behind us.
So you're on 4 points at this point. So you've pretty much qualified. It's just what position you finish in the group, really, isn't it?
And Slovakia, that we should beat them. I think you've got to go and beat them. We drew 0-0, really frustrating. We actually played well. We just couldn't score. And that kind of set in a little bit of like, all right, no problem, because I think it
worked out better.
Did you boys win the group?
Yeah. So we beat Russia last game.
You won the group, then you had to.
You had a harder second round game, did you?
We had quite a.
No,
we were Northern Ireland. We were.
No, it was a big bad move for us because it meant that we'd get Iceland in the next round, but then if we beat them, it was Belgium. It was France, then Belgium.
That's it.
Which is how we were looking. Like we had to look at it. We obviously had to respect Iceland, and we went into that defensive kind of low block that they played, and they were on one, weren't they? They were doing great things for what they were. And man.
That must be internationally. Is that as bad as it ever got?
Yeah, comfortably. Comfortably.
Even as a fan watching that, I just remember it was horrible.
I think Wazza scored straight away, and we were like, right, it's on. Then they scored like from a long throw or something crap. Then I don't know, 15 minutes in, another pathetic goal that I never ever ever let in. I don't know. Just happened to be those moments where me being a human kicked in, and I was poor in those exact moments, and then I was just like helpless because we were just pummeling them.
Couldn't score.
Nothing was going right, was it?
You got criticised, didn't we? Because Harry Kane was taking corners.
Really,
and stuff.
really bad stuff was happening. It was all starting to unravel. The corners were, even simple things like corners were shite, and big opportunities were coming and going.
Did you find you guys at that point were getting desperate and just almost playing, not individually, but you were going away from what you may be prepared for? So you got big characters in there, the likes of Rooney, and people. I think, I need to go and win this game by myself.
People taking it by the scruff, and that's it's talked about a lot more now, and it's something that I've been a lot more aware of, how, especially when you are the better team, the dominant team, that you just got to stick to your process. You got to stick to your plan. You got to believe in something. Believe that will be come good. And I think we played with emotion, and
because when everyone goes on their own agenda, panic sets in, doesn't it? And everybody's chasing it. Whereas actually, like you say, if you just trust what you're doing, everybody just keep banging on that door.
But their big personalities going, I'm going to win the game. I'm going to
take
it was
control. Not through. It was through. It was not through anything else other than desperation, and veering away from a plan, but through trying to do the right thing. But we got it wrong. We got it wrong on the biggest scale, and it was. We deserved everything we got. I deserved everything I got. It was, and I made sure that I interviewed straight after. People like friends and family have always told me not to, but I've always been one to. I'm never ever going to hide away from anything, because I'm not doing anything on purpose. I'm literally, I tried my best. I didn't save it, and it was horrendous. It was the kind of thing that under 14 goalkeeper would have probably saved. I would have saved when I was under 14, but it went in. So I'm not going to hide from that. I was a senior team. I wanted to protect the younger guys, because there were some younger guys who had potential to kick on. And I felt like I personally was going to be with them when they kicked on. I felt strong enough and ready to go again. Just so happened to be my last tournament game and fronted it. It was really painful, but it was a loss. And it was, football starts again really quick. I went back to City and got volleyed out of there.
But although like at that moment, and you've had, like even now, Joe, like you're extremely popular across the board over the course of your career, and obviously at Celtic now. But even moments like that, you might not be popular at that moment in time, but it's to be respected, isn't it? To be able to go, do you know what? I've made a mistake. I'm going to front it. I'm going to stand up in front of the cameras. I'm going to have my say. I think that's important, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And it's something that I've continued to do. Obviously, I've had plenty of pats on the back, so why would I not be the guy who could stand there with and take some criticism, as long as it's fair. I'm not going to argue with you. Facts are facts, and they were. And I still obviously felt like I had more to give in the game, and it just turned out that was my last tournament. But I still played for England. I still qualified England, played all the qualifiers, building into the next one, and then it was just, I don't know, football was really starting to not happen for me. And I don't know if you want to go there.
Did Gareth Southgate have a chat with you then? He left you out?
Yeah. So Roy, that was hard. That was painful. I'm not going to lie. See, Roy, an incredible person. Someone that I'd worked closely with, strong character. And then the next day, pulled us in and he told us, it was a really tough moment. It was just. You didn't see him as the England manager. Then you saw him as a vulnerable, older guy, and he said that.
I remember the press conference was horrible.
Yeah, it was sad. And it was obviously, you can't help but get away from the fact that I was a part of him having to do what he did, to resign. It was sad moments, because you do become family-like when you're with people that long, and you do care for them personally. You do want them to do you want what's best for everyone, especially good people. Like Rose is a very, very good person. And, it was a moment. It was probably a couple of weeks for him, but he's got over it. Everyone gets over it. Life goes on. So then Sam comes in, and obviously I had the chat that I had with him, and he only did one game, and for whatever reason he was out, and we were just complete shambles at that point. We were a shambles. We've gone out to the first groups, gone out the group stages 14, gone out to Iceland 16. Our manager's been sacked after one game. Gareth's the 21s manager. Can you just fill in for us? And he did a good job, and everyone's being linked with the England job, and Gareth's doing a solid job and leaning on us senior players, and we're doing our best to help him, and we're actually winning all our qualifiers, some tough games. I'm stepping up, captain the odd game, helping Torino, so managing to play for both, do a good job. Go into the second part of the campaign, qualify us when I'm at West Ham, qualified. I think I played 9 of the 10 games. We qualified for the 10th, so they gave it to someone else. I think I had 7 clean sheets or whatever. I was doing well for England. I was holding it together, felt good. I had obviously a bit of a tough period at West Ham. No conversation. I was back in for the March internationals, involved, but they were friendlies, and neither Jordan or Jack had much game time for the first team. So he said he wanted to give them a game each, because you need people to have game time if it does come to it. Absolutely no problem. Support them. That's me. And then obviously the season went on. I'm thinking, this hasn't gone well. I might not start the World Cup, but no matter what, my mentality is to be part of something I've been part of for a very long time, however many years. What was it? 2010, so that's the 18. I've been in it 9 years. Played as one for 6 of them. Whatever happens. I will be there, and I will be fighting for everything. And then season finished. I didn't play the last 3 games, and then we were due to meet up. So I helped with the plans, with the organisation of what was going to go on, how we were going to do things. Had big input. There was like a senior group, so I made sure I shot away, got my holiday in. They were due to meet up on the Saturday, and that was it. Done. That was my England career. Bosh.
Such a sad way, isn't it, to kind of jump in after you've given so much,
Yeah, I don't expect flowers and a send off when you leave someone's work, but I don't know what I expected. I don't know.
75 caps though.
I don't expect anything anymore. Yeah, 75 caps. What was I then? 31. It just made me think, this is a tough old game. This really is a tough old game. It was nothing personal on me. Nothing personal.
Did you think as well, Joe? You're 31. You're on for record-breaking caps. Did you ever have any thoughts about anything like that?
I just remember not checking it and then thinking, gee, I remember getting handed a 50, and then I was like, geez, I've played 70 times, and
I know ultimately that ended up being the last squad that you were in, but at that moment, did you think to yourself, I'll get back in here?
I didn't know what to think, mate. And then, you know, you can dress it up all you want. It was really hard watching that tournament because it was all my pals and all the things that I'd been involved in. And they smashed it. They did great.
Yeah. And you being involved in the logistical side. It's not like you missed the whole campaign. You played 9 out of 10 qualifiers. Been a big part of that.
It was
strange
mad.
feeling that must be.
Yeah, really strange. And one that I wasn't able to just slap myself and say get over it. I actually was like, whoa, yeah, tough. This is tough.
Did you watch it? Did you have a couple of beers and watch it?
I did watch it because my holidays were with people who, in their lifetime, might not experience England doing well.
Yeah.
So I just could not be that guy that just, you know, your close friends and family feel how you feel, and they want to protect you and they want to love you. And I've always been the kind of guy who's been there and provided and organised, and they want to be there for you when you give them that opportunity. Because I didn't really give people the opportunity to kind of look after me much. That was a moment where they need to look after me, so kind of gather around and, you know, almost feel like they needed to not watch it and not support it. But it's like, are you crazy? Like England fever, like they could potentially win the World Cup. It's amazing. It's just a shame I'm not there. But there were so many guys in that team that I loved, like boys that I'd trained with and played with and thought the world of and wanted the best for them. So it's just such a weird feeling, right?
But looking back on it, Joe, 75 caps for England is just an unbelievable achievement, isn't it? And you've had some massive moments playing for England as well. It's something you should be so proud of. I know it ended not the way you wanted it to, but
does it ever end well in football? How often does it end well?
Still, you're now playing for Glasgow Celtic, and I mean that introduction that we give you. I mean, we were talking it through on the way up here. That's ridiculous, isn't it? That is what dreams are made of.
And you'll go down as one of the Premier League greats, do you know
all-time greats.
I am proud of it, and it's nice now that I have my own younger generation that I'm trying to mould and give good ethics to, and you know, put things in perspective. But you can't help. I just think it would be impossible for me to look at the England career and just be happy with 75 literally caps that I could put on my head when I knew there's things that we could have done. I don't regret it, but I certainly have to be honest with myself when I talk about it and look at the numbers. I'd have happily had one, and that show was like something to show for it.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not. It doesn't keep me up at night at all, because, like I say, I gave everything at every moment. Turned up every single time I could, didn't miss a squad, didn't miss a training session, didn't miss a meeting, because I loved it, and I absolutely loved it and continue to love it. So it's certainly not regret, but it's just I couldn't honestly talk about playing 75 times and having nothing to show for it and say that I was
content.
Yeah, I wasn't content because I wanted to do something with it, because it just would have been awesome.
I think that the character that you are, Joe, even if you'd have beat Peter Shilton, you probably wouldn't have been content. You'd have been like, well, I wanted more and I wanted more.
I wanted a World Cup.
Absolutely, no doubt, mate. No doubt. And that's what I know all the boys feel. All the boys at that level feel. You know,
need that.
They're great. You need
Absolutely.
it. You have to be hunting for it. If you're not hunting for it, what are you doing? You're hoping to get in the next one, You can't live like that, because then you're living in fear. You need to live thinking on that front foot, like, this. I'm doing this for a reason. I'm getting after it because there's this tournament coming up. And then when this tournament comes up, I'm going to be a part of it, and I'm going to be the guy that helps win it. Like, you have to have that mentality, otherwise you've got no chance.
What does the future hold for Joe Hart then?
Just playing footy, mate, for as long as I can here. Having a great time here, throwing everything I've got into it.
You're just living for the moment.
On and off the field, I'm living hard. I want to help
our podcast.
I want to help the podcast. I want to be an honorary member of In the Stiffs. But in the meantime, cheers, lads. I just want to play football to the high at this level that I'm in here, and keep pushing, keep the desire, keep the excitement. I'm obviously well aware that there's potential ends coming to my career. I want to have as many things in place that I can't wait to do when that moment does come. I just positive, mate. Or just looking forward, exciting, but also really, 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 really living in the moment. Really living in the moment, because it's coming. It's going to come to an end at some point. And I kind of naively thought in the middle, when I was at an age 23, 24, like Premier Leagues, FA Cups became normal. I thought this would be normal, but it's not.
Yeah.
We won the League Cup with Celtic. That was my first cup I've won in ages, and it was. I was like, I'm living that moment. I am holding that trophy. I'm holding that medal. I'm showing that medal to my children. I'm with my boys in the crowd, like I'm showing them like this is a moment. I don't care what's happened before. I don't care what's happening, and I want more of those moments.
Class.
Brilliant.
Wow.
What we need to do, Joe, before we let you go, this is going to be difficult. You need to pick a five-a-side.
He's already tried to refuse to do this because it's too hard.
He has to. Otherwise, we won't let him on again. Well, we started off, obviously, me and Gav have done our team. Dave's team was decent, wasn't it? Who was your team, Dave? Just tell Joe again.
Joe in goal. I had Connor Cody at the back, Ruben Neves and Aaron Ramsey in midfield, and Gareth Bale up front.
Good.
Subsequently, Joe, you got in all three of our five-a-sides. If you've not achieved anything in your life, stick that in your runners as well.
You got in mine head share given anyway.
Yeah. If I do have to name a five-a-side, it will be, how confident are you scoring goals, Sam?
Me personally, not particularly.
What about in a five-a-side arena?
I'm better, but still not brilliant.
I've often been referred to as the Peter Crouch of futsal. So
The Ginger Pele.
So I'm thinking I'm going to make a decision on goalkeeper, but Gav, centre half.
1,000,000%. Thanks, Joe. I'll take that.
So there's no football being played then.
It's below head height, remember?
10 grand Tolly, centre mid.
Yes.
You'd be happy with that,
He's
Tolly.
the only person from the outside of this table who's getting in it. Davey Edwards, marauding engine,
Box to box.
got goals in him.
Tolly and Dave can't play together, though, remember?
And then what the fans are going to pay to see, Super Sammy Aiston
Up top.
causing havoc.
Nuisance value, no goals.
Just causing carnage and just bundling goals in, making them happen. Headers, we know they've happened. They have happened.
The only person that scored goals by backing in the whole way into the goal.
Running the ball into the goal.
Sounds good. And then obviously Gerrard, Rooney, and Harry Kane on the bench.
Harry Kane, come on for me, last 10.
Yeah.
When my legs start to tighten, my knee starts to swell up.
If Sam's knee struggles with depending on the quality of the 4G, obviously I think H will be lurking.
You just can't trust them, lads.
Go on, Harry, have a run, Harry.
Kane and Aguero doing rock, paper, scissors for who gets the honour of coming on and taking over from Sam.
Class.
Yeah.
Love
Amazing.
it. What an absolute treat that was. Joe, thank you so much. Legend, England legend, Man City legend, Shrewsbury legend, but more importantly, a great person.
Thanks for having us, mate.
Oh, mate.
Loved it.
What a pleasure.
Love your work, lads.
Thanks for paying for the five guys. We did have the Ivy boot, but we didn't make it, did we?
That sums it up.
Yeah, we're more five guys in the Ivy anyway, lads, aren't we?
Mate, thanks for having us. It's been amazing.
What a treat.
My pleasure.
You.
Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate you travelling all the way up here. It's a long old way.
Thanks everyone for listening. I hope you've enjoyed that fascinating insight into the life of a Premier League and international superstar. If you enjoyed it, please share with others. As always, we appreciate and value your feedback. We'll be back next week with a debrief and a roundup of the whole of the first series. Bye for now.